Is the seller willing to get creative? This is something you should always ask the broker. Don't say, hey, is the seller willing to do seller financing? Because that's a rookie. Say, is the seller willing to get creative, and then shut up. Let them come back, and he knows, the broker knows what that means. And then he'll say something like, well, what do you have in mind? I don't really know. I just know that, I might need a little bit to get to that price in order, to make it work. We might need to, revise some of the financing. And I'm wondering if there's some way that we can, do it such that we can increase the cash on cash return by using seller financing instead. That's kind of what I'm seeing. For instance, this is in Frank's deal. For him to make the numbers work, there might need to be some form of seller financing. But if that's the case, the bank's not going to allow it. The bank's going to, put in a supplemental loan on the assumption. So we're going to have to get creative and figure out another way that we can get the seller to remain involved in the transaction to Frank's benefit without the bank having a problem. And that's why I say, don't ask for a second mortgage. And this goes back to, you've heard me say it a million times, always remain in control of the deal. When I asked for a second mortgage and the seller said yes, I opened up the door to lose control of the deal down the road. And I did. That horrible situation occurred where I lost control of the deal because I had asked for a seller financing way back when. And for those of you that don't know the story, what happened is I asked for seller financing. The guy said yes, 5%, which worked out to be about $350,000. So that means I don't have to raise $350,000 of seller of investor money. That means my money raise just got easier. And I told the seller I would secure that $350,000 with a second mortgage on the property. Everybody said yes. We go down the path. Everything's going great. Bank calls us up. Congratulations, you've been approved. Awesome. We're going to close in 2 weeks. Excellent. Oh, just one thing. It says here in the purchase and sale agreement that you're going to do a second mortgage. Yep, that's $350,000. We're going to put it on the property. Second to your position. All good. The guy says, no, not going to happen. You can't put a second mortgage on this property. We don't want to give foreclosure rights to anybody else behind us. Huh. Well, I wish you had told me that 60 days ago before my money went hard, because now I get $75,000 that if I don't close on this thing, I lose. And now you're telling me I got to go out and find another $350,000 of investor money to get over the hump because I told the seller I'd give him a second mortgage. So fortunately, at that time, right at that point, I lost control of the deal. But fortunately for me, the seller was doing a 1031 exchange on another property, and he had $100,000 hard on that deal. So he had more to lose than I did if he didn't close on his deal, which meant I had to close on mine. So that's how I was able to get control back of the deal. We ended up doing, and the other thing too, guys, is we ended up signing personally on the note. Never do that. Never sign personally. And it became a big fiasco. It all got worked out in the end. But because at the beginning, I asked for a second mortgage, I set myself up to lose control. That's why I tell you now, ask the question, is the seller willing to get creative? Then shut up. And the thing is that when the seller comes back and says, yeah, sure, I'll do some seller financing. What do you have in mind? I don't know. But are you willing to do some form of seller financing that meets the bank's underwriting requirements? That's all. Leave yourself that wide open door so you don't pigeonhole yourself. So that's what happens. Always ask the broker, is the seller willing to get creative? It doesn't cost you anything to ask.